crosses himself, pops it open,
and it becomes that dude. And the thing that's really cool is that the body is Shotaro, the left half, the purple half. The mind is very much the green half. So like every once in a while you'll see the green half start talking, and the way it talks is that the eye lights up. And it's really bizarre, it's really cool, and the whole just one of those damn shows that's really great. The way that they did it too is that Shotaro and Philip are supposed to emulate Rider 1 and Rider 2. If you look really closely at Masaki Suda, if you take his hair and just kind of like prop it to the side, he looks like Rider 2's actor way back in the day. So moving forward, if you have Rider 1 and Rider 2, you probably need V3, right? Well, let's meet another guy who lost his mother, his father, and his little sister too. This is Kamen Rider XL. He is the first Kamen Rider to be his own bike. And when I say the first, it's because we had a new one recently, and he's awesome, kinda. So this is XL, and he's notorious for having one of the weirdest henshins. The way he does his transformation is he takes his bike handles, he puts it on his waist, he brings up his XL member, and he goes, "Hen!" And he would rev, and then he would turn to this dude. This guy could pop those handlebars back off and turn himself into a bike and slide around and take all these attachments. And essentially he was V3, and he has a lot of character development. And he actually falls in love with another member of the detective agency further along. And he's got a cool story. He actually made a reappearance in a new Kamen Rider series. Does anybody watch Kamen Rider Drive?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there's a V-Cinema movie where they bring back some of the older Rider characters, and there's a scene where there is a Roid Mutant, the monsters from Drive, in the middle of a river on a bridge, who also has a Guy memory port and a Guy memory in front of him. Guy memories are the things from Double that they use to transform them all to turn into the dope pants, the monsters. Yep. So it's right in between the town of Futo that Double is set in, and then also it's set in Tokyo where Double is set in, and there's Tomari Chinosuke, the Kamen Rider Drive, and then there's Tomari Ryu, the guy who was Kamen Rider XL, standing there really grumpy at each other. And Shinosuke's like, hey, do you know anything about this? And this guy over here does his signature catchphrase, "Don't ask me questions!" What are you doing here? Tell me not to ask you questions. I don't want to answer yours. And that's essentially how that went for a half an hour until the monster popped back up, and then they both transformed. Drive transforms immediately, and then XL's like, "Oh, I can do that too." And he does the whole thing, he transforms, he's like, "So you're a red car, I'm a red bike. Oh, this is gonna be fun, we're gonna beat this guy up, aren't we?" And they're like, "Yeah," so they do all this crazy stuff with their tires and whatnot. It's a fan service moment that's like, I'm glad there's people that really like those kind of fan service moments in these shows, because like when they go hard with the fan service, they're good. And when I say fan service, I'm not talking like up the skirt shots like Koichi Sakamoto does like every other Rider show.
Yes.
Alright, so moving right along, this is Kamen Rider Skull. Now Skull's important because he is the mentor to the purple half of Double. Essentially, if it wasn't for this guy passing, the guy that is Double would not be Double. He would probably be the other half of Double right now. His story is super important, and most of it you can find in that crossover movie with Kamen Rider Decade. That is why Decade is so important, is that you get that part. And it makes that movie just that much more enjoyable for you. Now there's another movie where you get to see more about Kamen Rider Skull's creation, why he became Skull. And you also get to see his awesome fedora and stuff. Lady. Anyways, so in that movie called Kamen Rider Movie War Core with Double and O's, just skip to the part with Skull and just kind of like drop it. Because there's a part of it that straight up says Kamen Rider O's and Double Movie War Core featuring Kamen Rider Skull. Just crop all that other stuff off and just keep the featuring Kamen Rider Skull. And that's what this is from. It explains why he became Skull and why everything ended up happening in the Double series. It's a great end cap to that show. Alright, so we're going to talk very briefly about more fan service stuff in Rider. So this is Rada Kiriyama. He is the guy that plays Shotaro Hidari, the purple half of Kamen Rider Double. He also gets to play a character known as Kamen Rider Joker. He uses a Joker memory. Now here's what's really cool about Joker. He's an all-black Kamen Rider, black eyes. That pose looks awful familiar, doesn't it? Looks like Kamen Rider Black's. When Red was a kid, he loved Kamen Rider Black. His dad used to get the tapes for him, he used to watch it all the time. And the thing that's really cool about Kamen Rider Black is also one of the first shows that Koichi Sakamoto, one of the directors for Rider, got to do anything for Rider. So he was super excited that he gets to work with the guy that did Kamen Rider Black. And Seiji Kaiwa, who is the main Rider suit actor, he also really liked black, and he does get to be black because the black suit does not fit him at all. It's for this other guy that's like weird and pudgy, but not in the same ways that Kaiwa is. And so whenever they're together, they will always do a scene with Kamen Rider Joker. So where they cannot be Kamen Rider Double, but they have all these people, you're gonna see Joker, and Joker's awesome. Joker's great. Joker also does rider punches and rider kicks and just has some of the slickest fights in all of Kamen Rider. So we're going to move right along to my second favorite Kamen Rider. This is Kamen Rider Oz. Oz is awesome. This guy's a hobo. The only thing he cares about is making sure he has enough money for the next day and also make sure he has underwear for the next day. So he'll take in odd jobs and just do whatever he needs to do in order to get by. Unfortunately, he meets that floating arm that gives him stuff, and then he turns into Kamen Rider Oz. Now, this show is just, it's a treat. It's just one of those shows that's like so good. Just so good. Like, it's one of the most popular toy series to come out from Rider 2. The belts are still the highest selling Kamen Rider toy belt out there. It has yet to be usurped. The reason why this toy was so popular was it used RF chip scanning technology. So like, you know those little chips you put in the back of your animals so when they get lost you can find them when somebody scans it? They put those things into these little coins that are based off of animals called medals. You put them in, you can get certain combos, you take the thing and slide it, and it would make a whole bunch of different sounds and songs. And if you like any like previous Rider songs like Dragon Road or anything like that, the guy that sung Dragon Road, Akira Kushida, he's also the voice of the belt. So the Takatora Bata, that guy, he's also sung a whole bunch of things for a whole bunch of different shows like Kinnikuman, Kamen Rider, he's done one Sentai theme. He was the guy that sang Sun Vulcan. Anyways, Oz is just one of those great shows because this dude has so many form changes. They actually made a line to show you how many of them you can buy. It's a podium that's probably about as tall as my hand gets to, about right here off the ground. It is huge. So what I mean by combos is that he has multiple forms. So the first one is Tatoba. It's the hawk, the tiger, and the grasshopper. And then the other combos are all the ones that are based off of just the sole one color sets. So you can get crazy stuff like Gatakiribag, which can split itself into multiple types. And that one's OPSL because if he has other metals and he splits himself into multiples, he can essentially beat all those guys all on screen at once. Just because of that one form, which is like, dude, what? There's Ratu Ratu who can run really fast. He sends off these bright lights with his face and he has these claws that are super strong. There's Sagozo, which uses gravity. It has a rhino, a gorilla, and an elephant, and it uses gravity to its ability to grab people, throw them up in the air, kick them with a rider kick, and throw them back into the ground and throw rocks all over the top of it. A lot of fun. Then there's Shelta. Shelta had it really rough. It was supposed to show up way earlier in the series in this one aquatic portion of the show, but right around the same time they were going to do that, the tsunami hit in Japan. And it's probably not great to do, you know, the big water hero right after all that happened. So what they did was they switched it out with Tajador, the red one. Now, Shelta showed us way later in the show. Suit barely got used. They got used again in a couple movies, but if you're going to look for an O suit that's severely underused, it's the blue one. The red one's considered to be like everyone's favorite, Tajador. It's very important in the show because there's characters called greeds in O's, and the greed are the things that the medals come from. And if they lose a certain amount of medals, they start to go crazy and they want to get them back. And if they lose all the medals, they'll just straight up die. And the whole reason why they want this desire and all this is that they used to have 10 medals, and the only way they could have life is you can't have life without desire, right? You need something, right? So they take away that one extra medal, they would destroy it, and then they would create monsters out of coins to search for those things. They would never be able to get them. So one of those monsters that helps him is called Ankh. Ankh's the red bird guy, so that red form is a really big deal, because Ankh is not really a hero through most of the show. He's very much an antagonist for a lot of it. Those two guys at the very end are Birth and Proto-Birth. They're fun, they're there. This show's about O's, let's talk about O's. The purple one is Kamen Rider O's Punto Tira. It uses metals from, they call them mythical monsters, but really they're dinosaurs. So you got a T-Rex, a pterodactyl, and a triceratops. I always want to say Todikana, because I know that's not right, but it's the only way I know how to say that one. So, who likes to go kaiju? Woo! Remember how I told you that O's, if he has the right metals, he can like make multiples of himself? Well, if he hangs out with the Gokaiger, he can be like, here, take my keys, and he has keys of different versions of himself, so everybody got to be O's and use the Gokai Galleon Buster. And nothing's funnier to me than seeing the pink character, the really, really tiny suit actor, in the biggest, bulkiest outfit in Punto Tira. So if you look really closely, it's like really scrunched and fluffy. But this was in the first Superhero Tyson movie. Those are questionable movies. You can watch them if you want. They have some cool moments, but don't expect any plot hoops. So that's the cool thing about Kamen Rider O's was O's featured the 999th and the 1000th episode of Kamen Rider. The whole reason why they called this show O's was because of 1000. It was going to have the 1000th episode. We had 1000th episode. We have to do something. So what they did was they did the retelling of the Kamen Rider story from the first episode, but with the actors and characters from Kamen Rider O's. So it was really goofy and really silly. We got quotable title cards. Like the guy who played Ankh, the greed guy, ended up being the Shocker Great Leader. And it's They're two really great episodes. I highly recommend you check them out even on their own. And a really cool Ishinomori style drawing of Oz and Ichigo doing the whole handshake thing. This is also to promote the new Let's Go Kamen Rider movie, which was the 40th anniversary movie featuring Den-O.
Best movie, I don't care what anyone says.
It's actually a pretty good one. Let's Go Kamen Rider is a really good one. It has some fun scenes in it. So this is the 1000th episode title card. And here's the scene from Let's Go Kamen Rider where they brought in everybody. This isn't the first time they brought in everyone together. There's a movie called All Riders vs. Die Shocker that happened with Decade. I really like that movie. It's not a good movie by any means, but if you want to see a rider movie where all the riders are together fighting and they kind of give each other a moment to really shine on the screen, check out both of these. They're really cool. So this is your best buddy. He's going to be your best friend. This is Genshiro Kisaragi. He's a high school student. He's the youngest Kamen Rider. He is Kamen Rider Fourze. And Fourze, it's short for 40. 40. It's supposed to be the 40th anniversary series, and the original plan for it was that he was going to go befriend all the riders, and when he made friends with the riders, he would get these switches that he could put on his belt, press the thing, and then that rider would appear as like a module for his arm. So he would have like an Ichigo leg, and then an Nigo arm, so he could do like a rider kick, and then a rider punch. And like he'd get a rope arm from V3, and all, or from Rider Man, and also the really cool designs. It all got dropped a couple weeks before filming. It's a bummer. It's a real bummer. The reason why is Decade was only 4 years ago. We don't want to do anything like that. So they decided to go just full-on space theme. So this dude transforms using what's the name of that driver? Fourze driver. And he turns into this guy, Fourze. Fourze is he's based off of a space shuttle, and he's also based off of the new suits that NASA wants to use for moving across the surface of Mars whenever we get there. Have you seen the suits from The Martian? Yeah. Those same suits are designed off that same suit that this was based off of. So Fourze is also really cool because he has those 4 different switches he can put on his body. So he can switch his arms into like chain guns, missiles, a rocket launcher, a drill. It's also written by the guy that did Gurren Lagann. Yeah. So if you guys like drills in space, then you should probably check out the Rider Rocket Drill Space Kick. It's awesome. Oh, there it is. This is the Rider Rocket Space Drill Kick. And rad. So this isn't the only character that shows up in the show. There's also Kamen Rider Meteor.